CNN thinks $7,500 tax credit confusion could create a rush for electric vehicles in early 2023. In this report, I'm going to tell you about the 8 Tesla vehicles that are eligible for the $7,500 federal tax credit for electric vehicles. The IRS has now released its full list of electric vehicle models eligible for the new and updated $7,500 US federal tax credit. When you look at the list, there is almost zero consistency in what gets classified as an SUV or not. For example, EPA says Model Y is an SUV, but EV6 is a station wagon and Ioniq 5 is a large car. Was hoping the IRS would publish clear guidelines for the determination, but let's look at the Tesla models that are on the tax credit eligibility list. Here's the list of all 8 Tesla models that qualify for the 2023 federal tax credits, and they are all 2023 Tesla models, obviously. The first one is Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive, which is $55,000. Second, Tesla Model 3 long range, another $55,000. Again, 2023 models. Third, Tesla Model Y all-wheel drive, 7-seat variant, 3 rows, $80,000. Keep attention to that 7 seats because I'm going to make a comment. Tesla Model Y long range, another 7-seat variant, 3 rows, $80,000. Tesla Model Y performance, 7-seat variant, 3 rows, $80,000. Tesla Model Y all-wheel drive, 5-seat variant, 2 rows, $50,000. Tesla Model Y long range, 5-seat variant, another 2 rows, $55,000. And Tesla Model Y performance, 5-seat variant, 2 rows, $55,000. Now, like I said, pay attention to that 7-seat Teslas. Tesla right now doesn't make 7 seats. The new $7,500 federal tax credit for electric vehicles in the United States is coming into effect on January 1st. But there are still a lot of details we don't know about. The biggest unknowns regard the requirements of battery material provenance and component manufacturing. Recently, the U.S. Treasury announced that it is delaying the guidelines regarding those requirements until March, and therefore they won't apply until then. I believe Korean car makers who sell a lot of cars and I believe also Toyota argued for that. As you can see, the IRS only considers the 7-seat variants of the Model Y as an SUV, as they are the only one listed with the higher $80,000 MSRP limit for vans, sport utility vehicles, and pickup trucks. The 3 5-seat variants that I just mentioned have the $55,000 MSRP limit, which applies for other vehicles, quote unquote. Making it even more confusing is the fact that Tesla doesn't even make a 7-seat version of the Model Y performance, as I just said, yet it is listed on the IRA's website. So this is either a mistake or Tesla is about to add it to their design studio for customers to order. Adding to the confusion is that the Ford Mustang Mach-E, for example, is also capped at $55,000, yet only the 2 all-wheel drive variants of the Volkswagen ID.4 are considered an SUV, even though they don't have a 7-seat configuration. The entire situation should become clearer during the first quarter of 2023, but we expect some models to potentially see a reduction in the tax credit due to the battery sourcing requirements once everything becomes clearer. The Model S and Model X are not on the list, but that's not a surprise due to their starting price of over $100,000 price. And people who pay $100,000 for Model S and Model X, they don't need the tax credit. The surprise is that not all Model Y qualifies as an SUV, which enables the higher MSRP limit of $80,000 instead of $55,000 for all vehicles that are not pickup trucks, vans, or SUVs. It is important to remember that this is just a tax credit, and not all owners will be able to take advantage of the full $7,500 tax credit. If the amount of taxes owed on your next tax bill is $1,500, you will only be able to apply $1,500 of the credit. If your taxes owed are more than $7,500, then you can apply the full credit. There are also income limits that apply: $150,000 for single filers, $300,000 for joint tax filers, and $225,000 for heads of households. Now, this electric vehicle tax credit eligibility may only last a few months. Why? Because of a rush. That's because limitations on new tax credits enacted in August as part of the Inflation Reduction Act won't be put into force all at once. The Treasury Department announced that this week. That means the rules will temporarily be more generous, allowing higher tax credits on more electric vehicles for the first few months of the new year. What does this mean? The US Treasury Department, which is implementing the rules, recently announced that rules for some of the new restrictions on the tax credits, including around where the vehicle's battery pack is assembled and where the minerals used in it came from, were being postponed until at least March of 2023, when it announces proposed rules around that part of the requirements. According to language in the legislation, though, just the publication of the proposed guidance around those rules, which Treasury said would happen in March, will immediately trigger the reduction in tax credits. But some of the new rules are taking effect as originally scheduled in January. That leaves roughly a 3-month window in which some vehicles could be eligible for much higher tax credits than they will be eligible for later on. General Motors, for example, has already said that once the full restrictions come into force, whenever that happens, its electric vehicles will only qualify for a $3,750 tax credit. It's expected to be 2 or 3 years before GM vehicles can once again qualify for the full $7,500 tax credit the company had said. To be eligible for the potentially higher pre-March tax credits, a vehicle actually has to be delivered to the customer before then, according to just released Treasury Department guidance. That could make the time window even narrower, especially for popular models for which customers are already having to wait. While that could create a buying opportunity in the first months of the year, the downside is that it just adds to confusion around what is already a baffling set of rules, even by tax regulation standards. Here I want to share a quote with you. I was kind of hoping for more clarity, not less, said Chris Harto, a senior policy analyst with Consumer Reports. He said, "It seems like things just seem to get more confusing each time they see something." Essentially, the tax rules are designed to incentivize automakers to make their electric vehicles and all the parts of those vehicles as much as possible in the United States or in countries with which the US has trade agreements. They're also designing so tax credits don't go to wealthy Americans buying expensive luxury vehicles. The latest announcement, which will temporarily open up more tax credit money, is likely mostly a good thing for customers. What do you think about this, friends? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. This is Armen Harayan from TorqueNews.com. If you are here first time, please subscribe to our channel for daily Tesla news. Give us thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. Share in social media. Happy New Year to all of you, and I'll see you soon in our next report.